They're among the most prescribed medications in the world, yet also among the most misunderstood. Amphetamines affect millions of lives daily, from treating medical conditions to enhancing performance. But what exactly are amphetamines, and how do they work in our brains? Today we'll explore the science, uses, and realities of these powerful compounds. Amphetamines are stimulant drugs that directly affect your brain's chemical messengers. They work by increasing levels of dopamine and noradrenaline. Dopamine controls motivation and reward feelings. Noradrenaline manages attention and alertness. Amphetamines block the reuptake of these chemicals, keeping them active longer. This creates the characteristic effects of increased focus and energy. But this process also explains why amphetamines can be both helpful and potentially harmful. The effects ripple throughout your entire nervous system. Understanding this mechanism helps explain both therapeutic benefits and potential risks, which brings us to their medical applications. Medically, amphetamines treat several important conditions. Most commonly, they're prescribed for ADHD, helping millions of children and adults improve focus and reduce hyperactivity. They also treat narcolepsy, a condition causing excessive daytime sleepiness. In ADHD brains, amphetamines actually normalize activity in attention centers. This can dramatically improve academic and work performance. However, medical use requires careful monitoring and dosage control. Proper medical supervision ensures benefits while minimizing risks. When used as prescribed, amphetamines can significantly improve quality of life. But their story extends beyond medicine. Amphetamines have also become part of our broader cultural conversation about performance and productivity. Beyond medical use, amphetamines have gained popularity for cognitive enhancement. Students facing academic pressure sometimes turn to unprescribed stimulants. Similarly, professionals seek performance advantages in competitive workplaces. Social media amplifies messages about optimization and peak performance. This creates environments where drug use seems normalized or necessary. Studies show significant rates of non-medical stimulant use in academic settings. Our culture increasingly promotes the idea that we should optimize every aspect of performance. But this cultural shift raises important questions about safety and ethics. Understanding the risks is essential for making informed decisions, because amphetamines, while beneficial medically, carry significant risks when misused. Amphetamine misuse can cause serious cardiovascular problems, including increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and potential heart damage. Sleep disruption is another common and serious side effect. Chronic use can lead to anxiety, paranoia, and other mental health issues. Appetite suppression can result in dangerous weight loss and malnutrition. Regular use leads to tolerance, requiring higher doses for the same effects. This can quickly develop into physical and psychological dependence. Withdrawal symptoms include severe fatigue, depression, and cognitive impairment. Ironically, long-term misuse often leads to the performance problems users hope to avoid. In severe cases, overdose can cause seizures, heart attack, or stroke. However, help is available for those experiencing problems with stimulant use. Fortunately, there are safer alternatives for those seeking cognitive enhancement and better performance. Regular exercise naturally boosts dopamine and noradrenaline levels. Quality sleep is fundamental for focus and mental performance. Meditation and mindfulness practices improve attention and reduce stress naturally. Proper nutrition provides the brain with essential nutrients for optimal function. Evidence-based study techniques can improve learning more safely than drugs. Social support and accountability partners enhance motivation naturally. Professional counseling can address underlying performance anxiety and stress. These approaches support long-term brain health without the risks of drug misuse. The key is making informed decisions based on scientific evidence and personal health needs. Amphetamines can be valuable medical tools when properly prescribed and monitored, but for cognitive enhancement, safer alternatives often provide better long-term results. Understanding the science helps us make better choices for our health and performance. As we wrap up our exploration of amphetamines, let's turn our attention to another substance, with a powerful cultural impact: cannabis. Cannabis is the most widely used illicit drug in the world. Throughout history, it has been celebrated and condemned, legalized in some places, and criminalized in others. But why does cannabis inspire such strong opinions? What makes it so popular? How does it actually affect your body and mind? In our next documentary breakdown, we'll dive into the science, the myths, and the cultural legacy of cannabis. Join us as we explore the facts behind the headlines and uncover what really happens when you use cannabis. To understand cannabis today, we first need to look back thousands of years into the past. Cannabis isn't just a modern phenomenon, it's one of humanity's oldest cultivated plants. Ancient civilizations across Asia grew cannabis for many reasons. Its fibers, known as hemp, were spun into ropes. Its fibers, known as hemp, were spun into clothing. Its fibers, known as hemp, were spun into even paper. Healers valued its medicinal properties, using cannabis to treat pain. Healers valued its medicinal properties, using cannabis to treat inflammation. In spiritual ceremonies, its psychoactive effects were believed to bring participants closer to the divine. But this plant's story isn't just about utility and tradition. In the 20th century, cannabis faced a dramatic shift. Governments around the world began to criminalize its use. They linked cannabis to moral decline and to social unrest. Decades of prohibition followed, shaping public perception and policy. Yet today the tide is turning once again. Countries and states are re-examining cannabis, legalizing its use for medicine, and legalizing it for recreation. As we continue this documentary breakdown, we'll explore how cannabis's ancient roots connect to the controversies and conversations unfolding right now. To truly understand cannabis, we need to look beneath the surface into its chemistry. Cannabis contains more than 100 different compounds known as cannabinoids, but two stand out above the rest: THC-CBD. THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, is the compound responsible for cannabis's signature psychoactive effects, the high many users seek. When THC enters the body, it interacts with the brain's endocannabinoid system, altering mood perception appetite. CBD, or cannabidiol, works differently. Unlike THC, CBD is non-psychoactive. It doesn't produce a high. It's been linked to potential medical benefits. Pain relief, reduced anxiety. But THC and CBD are just the beginning. Researchers are only starting to uncover how the many other cannabinoids interact with our bodies. CBG, CB, and CBC. Each compound has unique effects, contributing to the complex and often unpredictable experience of cannabis. Understanding the chemistry behind cannabis helps explain its ancient appeal and its modern resurgence. In the next chapter, we'll explore how these compounds are used in medicine and what science says about their potential benefits and risks. To truly grasp cannabis's impact, we need to explore how it interacts with the brain. At the heart of this process is the endocannabinoid system, a network of receptors. It helps regulate mood, memory, appetite, and other regulatory functions. When THC, the main psychoactive compound in cannabis, enters the bloodstream, it binds to CB1 receptors in the brain. That binding triggers a cascade of effects: altered perception, a sense of euphoria, relaxation, and even changes in how we experience time. Scientific animations reveal how these receptors light up, while brain scans show shifts in neural activity. As THC takes hold, users often report heightened sensory perception, vivid colors, and music that feels deeper or more immersive. But there's a trade-off. Short-term memory can become unreliable, and coordination may be impaired, one reason why activities like driving are risky under the influence. CBD, another major cannabinoid, plays a different role. It doesn't directly activate CB1 receptors. Instead, CBD can actually modulate some of THC's less desirable effects, such as anxiety or paranoia, helping to create a more balanced experience for some users. Through these complex interactions, the chemistry of cannabis shapes how we feel, how we think, and how we perceive the world around us. Understanding these effects is essential as cannabis use becomes more widespread and its role in society continues to evolve. While cannabis is often discussed in cultural and recreational contexts, its role in modern medicine is significant and evolving. Across the globe, doctors are turning to cannabis-based treatments for a range of conditions. In clinics and hospitals, patients with chronic pain have found relief where traditional medications sometimes fall short. Scientific studies show cannabinoids can reduce inflammation. Cannabinoids can modulate pain signals, which brings new hope for those living with persistent discomfort. For children with severe epilepsy who don't respond to conventional treatments, CBD has emerged as a breakthrough. Footage shows young patients and families fewer seizures, restored quality of life, a regained sense of normalcy. Multiple sclerosis patients also benefit from cannabis-derived therapies. By easing muscle spasms, easing stiffness, these treatments help people regain mobility and independence. Cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy often use medical cannabis to manage nausea and to stimulate appetite, easing a difficult treatment. Yet despite these promising stories, the medical community remains divided. Growing evidence supports cannabis's potential, but experts warn more rigorous studies are needed. Ongoing research and clinical trials are essential to identify beneficiaries and to minimize risks. We see patients, caregivers, and researchers at work, and it's clear cannabis is reshaping medicine. Its journey is far from over, but its impact is already being felt in lives across the world. Cannabis offers promising medical benefits, but it's crucial to understand the risks and downsides, especially when use extends beyond a doctor's guidance. In the short term, cannabis can trigger anxiety, or even panic in some individuals. Memory lapses. Slower reaction times are also common. These can impact daily tasks and decision-making. Over the long term, frequent or heavy cannabis use carries additional concerns. Some users develop a dependence and find it difficult to cut back. Others may experience reduced motivation or even cognitive decline. Risks are worse if use begins early in life. For teenagers whose brains are still developing, the risks are even more pronounced. Research shows adolescent use can disrupt brain development. That can affect learning and emotional health well into adulthood. It's not just the mind that's at risk. Smoking cannabis can harm the lungs in ways similar to tobacco. That raises the risk of respiratory issues, unless users choose vaporized or edible forms. As with any substance, understanding both benefits and risks is essential. By staying informed, people can make safer choices for their health and well-being. Cannabis isn't just a plant, it's a cultural phenomenon. For decades it's been woven into the fabric of music, art, counterculture movements, jazz musicians in the 1940s, the hippie era of the 1960s, today's hip-hop and festival scenes. Cannabis often symbolizes freedom, rebellion, creativity. In some traditions it's used for spiritual practices, believed to deepen meditation or connect with the divine, but the story of cannabis is also a legal one. Over the past decade, the world has seen a dramatic shift. Canada, Uruguay, multiple US states, parts of Europe. This changing legal landscape has fueled a booming industry, now worth billions of dollars, from dispensaries to cultivation. The cannabis economy supports countless jobs and generates significant tax revenue. Of course, legalization is not without debate. Supporters argue for medical freedom, personal choice, and the economic benefits. Critics warn of potential health risks and social consequences, especially for young people. As laws continue to evolve, society is still weighing the costs and benefits. The conversation is far from over. As the world reconsiders its relationship with cannabis, the future looks both promising and complex. More countries are likely to move toward legalization and normalization, reflecting shifting public attitudes, growing evidence of its medicinal potential. Scientists are racing to unlock the secrets of cannabinoids, exploring new therapies for pain, anxiety, neurological disorders. But with progress comes responsibility. Policymakers and communities will need to carefully weigh the benefits of access against the risks, especially for young people and vulnerable populations. The challenge is to strike a balance, crafting laws that protect public health while honoring personal freedoms. Cannabis will continue to occupy a unique place in society, a medicine for some, a recreational choice for others, and a subject of ongoing debate. Its legacy is still being written. As research evolves and conversations deepen, one thing is clear: the story of cannabis is far from over and its next chapter is just beginning. Throughout human history, nature has provided more than just sustenance. It has offered gateways to altered states of consciousness. Certain mushrooms, plants, and even animals contain powerful psychoactive compounds that have fascinated, inspired, and at times unsettled societies across the globe. Among these, psilocybin, the active ingredient in so-called magic mushrooms, stands out as one of the most intriguing. Used for centuries in sacred rituals by indigenous peoples, psilocybin and other natural psychedelics have shaped spiritual practices, artistic expression, and cultural evolution. Today, they are at the forefront of a new wave of scientific exploration. Researchers are delving into their effects on the mind and body, uncovering potential therapeutic uses for mental health conditions like depression, PTSD, and addiction. But what exactly happens when these substances enter the brain? How are ancient traditions informing modern medicine? And what challenges and opportunities lie ahead as society reconsiders its stance on psychedelics? Join us as we explore the rich history, complex chemistry, and promising future of psilocybin and natural psychedelics. Psilocybin isn't the only naturally occurring psychedelic that has captivated human curiosity. Nature is home to a vast array of mind-altering compounds, each crafted through millions of years of evolution. Over 200 species of mushrooms, known as magic mushrooms, contain psilocybin found across nearly every continent. But the diversity goes far beyond fungi. In the dense jungles of the Amazon, indigenous peoples brew ayahuasca, blending DMT-rich plants with Maois to unlock powerful visions and spiritual insight. Across the arid deserts of the Americas, peyote San Pedro cacti each harbor mescaline, used in spiritual and healing practices. In West Africa, the roots of the iboga shrub yield ibogaine, a substance deeply embedded in initiation rituals and now under study for its potential in addiction therapy. Even the Bufo alvarius toad, found in the Sonoran Desert, produces a potent secretion containing 5-MeO-DMT, a substance with profound psychoactive effects. Remarkably, these compounds did not evolve for human benefit. They serve as defense mechanisms, deterring predators, preventing fungal infections. Yet through observation and experimentation, ancient humans discovered these natural chemicals and integrated them into rituals, healing ceremonies, rites of passage. Over generations, what began as survival chemistry became woven into the fabric of culture, medicine, and spirituality. In our next chapter, we'll explore how these natural psychedelics interact with the brain, unlocking perception, consciousness, and healing. When psilocybin enters the human body, a remarkable transformation takes place. The compound is rapidly converted into psilocin, which closely mimics serotonin, the brain's natural mood regulator. Psilocin primarily binds to the 5-HT2A serotonin receptors, acting as a master key that unlocks new patterns of neural connectivity. Under the influence of psilocin, the brain's rigid networks, responsible for our habitual thoughts and behaviors, begin to dissolve. This allows for a surge of unusual cross-communication between regions that rarely interact. The result? An altered sense of time and space, heightened sensory experiences, and for some, the dissolution of the ego, a temporary loss of the boundaries that separate self from the world. These shifts can bring profound emotional breakthroughs or a sense of unity with the universe, often described as mystical or deeply meaningful. But not every journey is the same. For some, the experience is healing and transformative. For others, it can be disorienting or even distressing. The diversity of psilocybin's effects highlights the complexity of consciousness itself, and reminds us that the mind, like nature, is full of hidden pathways waiting to be explored. Psilocybin's unique effects on the brain have sparked a new wave of research into its therapeutic potential. In controlled clinical settings, carefully guided psilocybin sessions are showing remarkable promise for treating mental health conditions that often resist conventional therapies. Depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. During these sessions, participants report breakthroughs that can reshape their outlook on life. The dissolution of rigid thought patterns combined with the emotional intensity of the experience appears to help some people confront deep-seated traumas or persistent negative beliefs. For many, a single guided session can lead to lasting improvements in mood and well-being. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. The therapeutic setting, professional guidance, and personal mindset all play a crucial role in the outcome. While the science is still evolving, the hope is clear. Psilocybin may offer a powerful new tool for healing the mind, one rooted in both nature and our expanding understanding of consciousness. Long before psilocybin found its place in modern medicine, it played a central role in the spiritual and cultural traditions of indigenous peoples. Mexico, Peru, the Amazon sacred mushrooms, other natural psychedelics revered as powerful tools for healing and connection with the divine. In remote villages, shamans and healers would lead ceremonial rituals, guiding participants through profound journeys of self-discovery and transformation. These experiences were not just about altered states, seeking wisdom, resolving inner conflicts, restoring harmony within the community. For many indigenous cultures, the use of psilocybin is deeply woven into the fabric of life, passed down through generations as a sacred practice. Even today, these traditions continue, not just about science but also about spirituality culture, the enduring quest to understand the mysteries of the mind. While psilocybin's roots stretch deep into ancient rituals, its journey into modern science is a story of rediscovery. 1950s, 60s researchers began exploring psychedelics as tools for mental health therapy, investigating their potential to treat depression, investigating their potential to treat anxiety. But as the war on drugs escalated, these promising studies were abruptly halted and psilocybin was pushed into the shadows. Now, decades later, science is experiencing a renaissance. In carefully controlled clinical trials, psilocybin is showing remarkable promise. For those with treatment-resistant depression, a single guided session can bring profound and lasting relief. In cases of PTSD and anxiety, therapists are reporting breakthroughs that were once thought impossible. Even addiction, the grip of smoking or alcohol, has loosened for some participants in these studies. Perhaps most striking of all, psilocybin is helping terminally ill patients confront the fear of death, providing comfort and acceptance in their final days. The evidence is growing. When used responsibly under professional guidance, psilocybin is not just altering minds but helping to heal them. This new era of research is opening doors to therapies once unimaginable, blending ancient wisdom with the rigor of modern medicine. While the clinical renaissance of psilocybin brings hope to many, it's crucial to recognize these substances are not without risks. Not every journey is transformative. Some can be deeply unsettling. So-called bad trips may unleash intense fear, paranoia, panic, especially in those unprepared or in unsafe environments. For individuals with a predisposition to psychosis or certain mental health conditions, psilocybin can worsen symptoms and lead to lasting psychological distress. Unlike many substances, psilocybin's physical toxicity is low. Overdoses are rare and fatalities even rarer. Yet the psychological risks are very real. Unsupervised or recreational use without proper guidance amplifies these dangers. Most clinical trials are conducted in controlled settings with trained professionals present to ensure safety. Legal barriers remain a significant challenge. In most countries, psilocybin is still illegal, restricting access for patients and hindering scientific research. As interest grows, conversations about regulation and harm reduction become more important. Understanding risks is as essential as recognizing benefits, and psilocybin's future should be guided by caution, compassion, and science. From swirling tie-dye to the hypnotic beats of Woodstock crowds dancing at a festival, psychedelic posters and album art visionaries, artists embraced substances like LSD and psilocybin, fueling a creative explosion, art, music, and philosophy forever. Psychedelic art flooded galleries while songs and poems echoed the experience of expanded consciousness. But this new wave of thinking triggered a powerful backlash. As the counterculture challenged traditional norms, governments responded with strict criminalization. News headlines warned of a psychedelic menace, and the war on drugs pushed these substances underground for decades. Today, the story is shifting. We're witnessing a psychedelic renaissance, science, spirituality, and culture. Decriminalization is sweeping across cities in the US, Canada, and Europe. Maps light up with new policies and headlines now highlight therapeutic breakthroughs. Modern psychedelic retreats offer guided journeys merging therapy with ancient spiritual practices. In therapy rooms, patients explore new ways to heal trauma and depression. Meanwhile, in tech hubs and creative studios, innovators turn to psychedelics for inspiration and problem-solving, seeking the same spark that once ignited the counterculture. From underground movements to mainstream conversations, psychedelics are weaving themselves back into the fabric of society this time, with a renewed focus on safety science and the search for meaning. As the psychedelic renaissance unfolds, it's important to weigh both the promise and the pitfalls of these powerful substances. On one side, the potential benefits are remarkable. Medical breakthroughs in mental health are emerging, with research suggesting that psychedelics may help treat depression, PTSD, addiction. These substances have a low risk of physical addiction and offer profound experiences of spiritual growth, creative growth, personal growth. As cultural acceptance grows, conversations about safe and responsible use are entering the mainstream. But the story isn't all positive. Psychedelics can lead to unpredictable experiences and, in some cases, lasting psychological harm, especially without proper guidance. Legal challenges, ethical challenges, patchwork of regulations, and debates about access and conditions. There's also the risk of misuse in recreational or unsafe settings. Lack of supervision can turn a journey inward into a dangerous ordeal. Headlines are hopeful, but large-scale studies and long-term studies are still limited, leaving many questions unanswered. By considering both the pros and cons, we can navigate this new era with open eyes, embracing the potential while respecting the risks. The future will depend on honest conversations, rigorous science, and a commitment to safety and well-being for all. The future of psychedelics is unfolding before our eyes. Around the world, legislative bodies are re-examining old laws, paving the way for medical use-controlled research. In state-of-the-art labs, scientists are delving deeper into how these substances can be harnessed, treating mental health disorders, unlocking new frontiers in creativity consciousness. Microdosing is gaining momentum, with researchers exploring its subtle effects on mood-focus innovation. Meanwhile, therapists and psychiatrists are developing new protocols, hoping to integrate psychedelics into mainstream mental health care. If managed responsibly, these breakthroughs could revolutionize how we understand and treat the mind. But this new era brings challenges. Ensuring public safety, creating clear regulations, setting ethical standards will be crucial. The promise of psychedelics must be balanced with caution, rigorous science, thoughtful policy. As society moves forward, the future of psychedelics will depend on our ability to ask tough questions, embrace evidence, and keep the well-being of individuals at the heart of every decision. With open minds and careful stewardship, psychedelics could shape a new chapter in human health and understanding. As we reach the end of our exploration, one thing becomes clear. The story of psychedelics is still being written. From ancient traditions to cutting-edge science, from personal revelations to sweeping cultural shifts, these substances have woven themselves into the fabric of human history. Whether used for healing, insight, or creativity, psychedelics have always challenged us to rethink what we know about the mind and ourselves. The questions they raise, about consciousness, connection, and the boundaries of experience, are as profound as ever. As society stands at a crossroads, we each play a part in shaping the narrative. Will we approach these powerful tools with curiosity and care, or with fear and misunderstanding? The path forward is uncertain, but filled with possibility. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, the next chapter is up to all of us.
I'll leave it fall for you.